Hey everyone, I'm back, and now I am gonna do the battle between Marcus von Draco and Alucard from Helsing. So, yeah, this is probably gonna be a very epic vampire battle. I planned out the battle scene in my head, and I think this is gonna be very horror actually when I think about it. Okay, so like usual, I'm gonna explain the background of my character and then see how he goes up against his opponent. Now, I am not going to go. I'm not going to explain Alucard just because I've never really watched the anime as a full. I'm not really sure about his feats. All I know is that Alucard has some ridiculous vampiric abilities, and he uses two guns called the Jackal and the Castle that are built to basically kill other vampires or any monster really. But if I have to explain Alucard, one thing I can explain is his ridiculous healing factor. I mean, sure, he has basic vampire abilities like superhuman strength and speed, durability, drinking blood, and mind control, whatever. But one thing that I noticed that is unique about Alucard versus other versions of Dracula is his ridiculous healing factor. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, he's been torn apart, ripped apart, set on fire, exploded, and he just comes back. And the way that he regenerates is just so horrific, like a mixture of like shadow energy and blood mixed together to reform himself. It's creepy. It's terrifying. Anyway, I should probably go and explain Marcus von Draco. So, Marcus von Draco, he is the great grandson of the seventh Dracula, and unlike the stereotypical vampires that drink blood, he chose he. Okay, sorry for my stuttering. I keep doing that. I am taking a speech class, so maybe that will help. Before I explain what he is, let me just say that at a very, very young age, well, it wasn't even him. Apparently, his grandmother, who supposedly is Dracula's daughter, was banished for some reason. I didn't really go into detail in my story why that is. But anyway, Marcus grew up basically believing that he is different from other vampires. That he's nothing about him is related to Dracula at all. He soon finds out the hard way that that is not the case. But anyway, one thing I can say about Marcus von Draco is that he is not a stereotypical vampire. What he is an energy vampire, meaning that he draws his power and life force from, well, energy. More specifically, he draws it from moonlight, from the lunar energy from the moon. Yeah, and what makes him different from other vampires is that he refuses to use the life energy of living creatures to fuel him. If he did, he would be a lot more powerful, but because he doesn't, that will pretty much kind of nerf him in this matchup, but I personally don't think so. So yeah, he's an energy vampire. He draws his power from the lunar energy of the moon, being a vampire. Anyway, so his abilities. Yeah, let's go over his abilities. The dude has basic vampire abilities like super strength, super speed, durability, flight. He can control a swarm of bats. He has a minor case of hypnosis, but it's not really all that powerful. He can shapeshift to a degree. His durability allows him to basically shake off weaponry that is normally harmful to vampires. Meaning that in this matchup, Alucard's monster killing bullets will harm Markus, but won't be a deficit. Won't be a guaranteed kill to kind of like even it out. So yeah, most holy relics that will kill a vampire instantly doesn't really affect Markus. Another point I can make is that Markus von Drako doesn't die by sunlight. Yeah, that's true, because in his story that I titled A Vampire's Love Story, it's a stupid title, I know, I mentioned that before on the short that I broke down about his aura moment, but yeah, I'm losing it right now. What was I saying? Markus von Drako, his ability. Oh yeah, sunlight. It's because in the story, it's revealed that early on in the story, he was able to adapt his body. Well, he's an energy vampire, right? So even though he's stronger with moonlight, he's able to adapt himself using solar energy from the sun, allowing him to adapt and walk around in sunlight, allowing him to basically go to school in the human world. Which I think that is actually a very useful advantage, but this battle is going to pretty much take place at night, so sunlight's not going to be a factor. Outside of that, he does have a couple of abilities that are pretty much unique to him over other vampires. For one thing, he can use blue hellfire, which can basically burns evil, that can actually burn evil spirits to ash. It's devastating. So yeah, he has blue hellfire that can basically burn away any supernatural creature to dust. But he also has, ignoring the picture, he does not have lightning-based abilities. He does, however, have ice-based abilities, which is cool. Yeah, it's kind of like Todoroki from My Hero Academia, where you can just like, one side is fire, one side is ice. But yeah, what he does is that he can draw freezing frost from the realm of the dead. Meaning that he can generate ice so cold that it's basically instant death. Yeah, it's terrifying. He's terrifying. But what I think kind of holds Markus back in this fight, in my opinion, is his character. Because, well, I mean, you could say the same thing about Alucard, but Markus von Drako, he's actually a good-hearted guy. He is kind, he is caring, he is very chivalrous, he's very gentlemanlike. And like a lot of different vampires and stories, he's very romantic. Yeah, I did mention that his story is a love story, right? A horror love story. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, I'm basically... Wait. No, never mind. I was gonna say that I was rewriting Twilight, but then I just realized that there are no werewolves really mentioned in this story, so that takes that away. But yeah, that's pretty much a lot of what you can know about Markus, is that he's a very chill dude, very nice, but when he locks in, the dude is terrifying, very intimidating. It was kind of like Gojo in that one moment, which is terrifying. Ugh. But yeah, oh yeah, Marcus von Draco also does have a healing factor. It is not like horrific and it's not like Alucard's where he can basically just piece himself together. He does have a healing factor, but if he is torn to pieces, he won't. I doubt he'll come back. But he makes up for it with his insane durability. So I'm just gonna say it right now. Alucard has the stronger healing factor, but Marcus von Draco has the stronger durability. Oh yeah, and of course he has animalistic senses and an insane battle IQ. Is there anything else I can really say about Marcus right now? Oh yeah, how about some of his feats? Well, I could re-explain his aura moment jailbreak from the short if you haven't watched that yet, but I'd rather you guys watch that short. So if you haven't watched that short, please watch the short. So you'll understand what that is. Anyway, he doesn't really have a lot of fight moments. Like early on in the story, he fights the son of Dracula, Magnus von Dracula, and gets pretty wrecked. If it wasn't for the magic force field created by his grandma to keep evil vampires like Magnus away, Marcus probably would have died. So the fact that he was actually able to survive as long as he did in that fight is pretty much a feat. I could say that the way that he towards the end of the story, when he fought Carlisle von Vieros, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I don't know. I mean, I should know. I wrote the story and created the names, but yeah. Yeah, Carlisle von Vieros, son of Viren von Vieros, the same Viren who was at Nevermore at the same time as Genesis. I'm dragging this along. But there is one feat that I can mention that will play a major factor in this story that is not mentioned in the story. Right, it's not in the story, but it's canon. So, what this feat is that he can basically use... Well, you can argue, like... This feat involves his ice power. If you want me to mention his fire power, he can simply create like a hurricane of blue hellfire that can basically destroy a continent and whatever. But his ice feat, however, is that if he wanted to... Oh, sorry. I was just thinking like that one moment where it's like everything is cold. Like... There's just ice everywhere, and he just does this, like, sigh breath. With, like, his breath visible because of the cold. It's kind of like a cool effect. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm over-explaining this. But yeah, his ice feat is that if he wanted to, he can basically freeze freeze all the waters on Earth. He can basically just freeze a planet. So yeah, that feat alone makes him pretty much planetary. Although you can argue that his hellfire allows him to fight universal level characters. So take that as you may. Okay, is there anything else I can mention about this guy? Like, there was his battle between Carlisle that I mentioned that I didn't really go into detail with. Okay, I think I'm ready. So, here is... Sorry. So, here is the scenario what a fight between Marcus von Draco and Alucard would look like. And just to let you know, I am gonna try doing voices. Okay. So it opens up in a dark night, right? So, and we just see Marcus von Draco just walking through this village or town or whatever, just minding his business, like just the chill dude, hands in his pocket, casual clothing like he's wearing in this image, just walking, minding his own business, and then suddenly, bam, 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 bullets came flying at him. With his vampiric speed, he was able to dodge them relatively easily, and then he's like, dude, what the hell? Sorry for the language, but, you know, he is a freaking vampire. And then Alucard walks in and says, yeah, Alucard. Alucard walks in, it's like, so, you are the vampire that I've been hunting. And then Marcus is like, look, dude, I don't want any trouble. He's like, too bad. You already made that mistake by selling your soul to the devil. And then he starts shooting Marcus. Once again, Marcus speed dodges these bullets, and then he basically speed blitzes towards Alucard and easily just like rips him apart. And he's like, okay, I think I'm done here. But then, of course, Alucard does his whole creepy, horrific blood shadow energy healing factor. I said I've never seen Hellsing / Hellsing Ultimate. That's not completely true. I've seen clips, but I've never really sat down and watched the series all the way through. So I know a few things. And so Alucard basically just reforms behind him, and then he turns around and Marcus is like, well, that's new. And then Alucard's like, you've never seen a healing factor like that? And he's like, no, why would I? And then Alucard is like, you are a very strong vampire. Maybe I should change things up a bit. Level 1. And he's like, level what now? And of course, Alucard releases his giant shadow wolf thing. I don't know what the heck that is. It starts having the wolf attack Marcus, like basically ragdoll Marcus around. He's like, what's the matter? Too much for you? Marcus is, of course, is able to break free and rip the shadow wolf apart. And he's like, okay, man, I had enough with this. And so he speed blitzes. He began, basically speed blitzing Alucard, basically, over and over, like he's freaking Sonic. Basically showing off his feat of speed, but then Alucard was able to stop him and slam him into the ground. He takes out his gun and began just shooting Marcus in the chest over and over and over. But as soon as he ran out of bullets, Alucard's like, well, my job is done here. He walks away, but then he heard Marcus laugh. Marcus was like, I don't know if that's an accurate laugh. I'm not really good at laughing, but Alucard turns around, he's like, what the heck? What is this? And then he sees that Marcus just stands up and shrugs off the bullets with the metal casings just falling off his chest with the bullet wounds just healing up. And he's like, you seriously have never fought someone like me before? And then Alucard's like, no. Okay. I think it's time to get serious. And then Alucard's like, I think so too. No, wait. Erase what Alucard said. After Marcus made his statement, he's like, the full moon then shines out, and then Marcus starts glowing. And then Alucard's like, what is happening here? And he's like, oh yeah. So, have you ever heard of this dude named Escanor? And he's like, no. Well, apparently he has this ability where he becomes super powerful at high noon. He's like, okay. So think about it this way. I basically get this epic power form at midnight. He's like, what? And so Marcus I probably should have explained this in the description part of this video, but what happens is that Marcus at midnight gains this form where his skin glows crystal moon blue, and his hair turns white, silver. I don't know. Point is, it's like his hair stands up and turns silver. His skin glows lunar moon, and his eyes also glow blue, and gaining sort of like this elemental form, which is so crazy and cool. And then at that point, and then after that, he's like, Alucard's like, okay, this is new. And then, of course, the power gap between Alucard and Marcus gets way out of control. Marcus's power level skyrockets, surpassing Alucard. He's like, okay. And then Alucard decides to transform into his true Dracula form, and they go at it, basically turning into a classic Dragon Ball video where they were basically head to head in an even battle, like moving so fast that they were basically invisible, throwing evil lightning strikes. So it's like after going back and forth, Marcus ends up overpowering true Dracula form Alucard and basically beating him down. And then Marcus is like, and of course Marcus, the 1 minute was over, so both of them go back down to base form, and he's like, had enough yet? He's like, not even close. Level 0. He's like, what the heck is with these levels? And it's yes. And then that, if you understand what level 0 is, this is when Hellsing gets really dark. So I did watch the death battle between Alucard and Dio, and supposedly Alucard basically killed millions of souls and absorbed them, making him powerful over the years. Meaning that in level 0, he summons this giant, ocean wave of blood with millions of zombies. They're basically representing the souls that he has collected. And so you would think that, and instead of just one wave, basically the entire city or town or whatever they were in was just consumed by this blood ocean, leaving only this single circle Marcus was standing in. He's like, you know what? Screw this. He slams his foot down, causing ice to shoot out of the ground, freezing the entire battlefield and the entire blood ocean. With Alucard, mind you, frozen as well. That's right, he one-shots level 0. Then he walks over to the frozen Alucard and he's like, so, this is what the Hellsing's version of Dracula can do. I gotta say, I'm not impressed. The Dracula I know would have been way more of a challenge. And so Marcus... So, Marcus strikes his arm into frozen Alucard's chest, rips out his frozen heart and crushes it to dust, causing Alucard's frozen body to just crumble to pieces and fly away. And then Markus is like, okay, I'm done here. And then just walks away all ominously. End of battle. So yeah, Markus wins. Now, I was actually considering giving Alucard more of an edge in this fight, but just in my opinion, I just write my characters ridiculously overpowered. Now, I mean, it's not like all my characters are like Goku, Saitama level powerful, but Markus, with how strong he is, was just too much for Alucard to handle. So, yeah, that's the battle. Markus von Drako versus Alucard. Winner, Markus von Drako. So, I hope you enjoyed this little death battle I created. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know which battle you would want next. But in my opinion, I'm pretty much gonna go ahead and finish up the Dark trilogy of these death battles, meaning that my next death battle will most likely be either Shadow versus Alon Draken, or Genesis versus Aizen. So, I hope you guys like this video, and I see you next time. Bye.